The distinct honor and privilege is indeed mine in the presence of the one and only Elquemedo Willet. First of all, Elko, because I know that some Nivijans may be a little bit confused for those who are not into the historical data of the name. Elquemedo suggests Spanish. And we do have a lot of people from Santo Domingo around. Could you give us a little bit of a historical background about that name?
Yeah, well, Elquemedo Tonito came from Santo Domingo. My father used to live there in the early 1930s or something like that. I think he went down there with his father and some other siblings, and he brought back that name, Elquemedo Tonito.
Wow. And that name rings such a huge bell now, not only in Nevis, but throughout the entire world when cricket is mentioned. Now, Elko, tell us a little bit about your feelings today, being so honored. Stephen Samanas certainly did a magnificent job. Your feelings, receiving that book this morning, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, as someone said a little earlier, I'm kind of overwhelmed, with the occasion, very proud moment. And I said, Steve would do a good job. I don't have to wait to read that book to know that he has done a good job. Because, he does things thoroughly. And, I'm really glad to be featured in that book. And I know it's gonna be a good seller. Because, persons know Steve and what he's capable of, and, and the cricket fans would be happy to pick up a book like that, I know, and it is not expensive.
Yeah, it's going at a dirt cheap price of $29.99.
Yes, when I heard the price, I said, what?
For all that?
Yeah, very good price. Well, he's making it affordable for persons to buy.
Now, Elko, talk to me a little bit about the book itself. It's called Father, Son, and Offsprings. You're the son. Johnny Howell is the father. What about your interactions with Mr. Howell? How well did you know him? Did you interact with him at all? How did you fall in place in terms of the father and the son?
Yeah. Well, I actually used to work for him.
I wondered about that. I told Steve, I believe so, but I think he said Derek.
School. Yeah. I actually worked
for him.
Yeah, at the Texaco gas station. And we spoke a lot about cricket, when I had time to pass by him there. He's always by that window where he lived there in Charlestown. And I would go by, from time to time, and, we spoke a lot about cricket. And one thing he always told me that I must try and get my average below 3 runs per over.
Wow.
And I was very conscious of that when I played, and I think I would have achieved that, or maybe a 3 runs per over the most, many times, Yeah, he always felt, a bowler should be less than 3 runs per over.
I also get the impression that he was a very generous man. Did he influence you in more ways than just talking? Did he help to buy you a couple of pads or cricket flannels, anything? Did he help in any way?
Well, he would have helped, yes, with a little extra cash here and there, so I could have bought certain things, Yeah, as you said, he was very generous, yes. He gave me that job because he was into cricket and he liked the cricket thing and he felt he should help cricketers.
Nice.
So, yes, I would have received,
some
maybe some assistance from him.
And finally, we go to the offsprings. I'm certain that you're proud that you opened the whole floodgate for people like Sir Andy, Sir Viv, and all those from Nevis who have passed through the gate since you. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm very proud to have, as you said, opened the gate for people like Viv and Andy who have been really great cricketers for the West Indies at the top level in the world, And from others from the rest of the Leeward Islands and Nevis in particular now, we have produced 6 other West Indian players since me. I'm very proud to have been the first.
And approaching 50 years since that historic occasion, Willet, your thoughts on approaching 50?
I can't believe it has been that long.
It's like yesterday.
Time flies, really. I remember in St. Vincent that day when it was Corriett, I think, who was, I heard the crowd, sort of uproar. And Corriett was feeling near the boundary side, and he came and told me that somebody in the crowd told him I had made the West Indies team for the next test match, and, I couldn't believe it in a way, it happened so suddenly, even though I was doing pretty well at that time. We were playing against Jamaica in St. Vincent at that time, and that innings there, I got 6 wickets too. 6 for 40, yes. So, well, and I played against them earlier in the President's 11 match, and I played against them for the Leewards in Antigua, and I did fairly well, So, it was really...
And then that moment when you came home, I'm sure Steve was there as well, we were at Grove Park when they had this big ceremony. I think they even gave you a car.
I think we had a motorcade.
Which ended
I
at
came
the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the folks in St. Thomas donated a car to me.
And you couldn't even drive. You couldn't even drive at it.
No. The folks in St. Thomas, then Divisions down there. They donated a car.
Wow. Well, Willet, and finally, I remember a long time ago we did an interview, and you told me that the cricketers nowadays, present-day cricketers, they seem to be more interested, I'm using your words, in the bling. Not wanting to dedicate themselves to the sacrifice and so on. I want you to look into the camera. There's some young prospects still here in Nevis. What would be your words for them to follow in your footsteps?
Well, they need to go out and work hard at their game and forget about the blings, as you talk about, the fancy shades and the bracelet and the chain and so on. When I was coming up, along those days, most of us youngsters, we worked hard at our cricket. We played cricket every day, possible, if it was possible. Sometimes from sun up until sundown, and sometimes we'll get mad when it gets dark, that we couldn't continue. And I told somebody some time ago that if we had the lights at the park then, we would have played until morning. Because we like the game so much. They need to work hard at the game. I'm like the youngsters these days in primary school. I notice they're not playing enough cricket on their own. Like the youngsters, their child sometimes telling you boys need to go and play cricket. You have a big role up there, and they hardly play any cricket. Only the youngsters, like grade 1, grade 2, who would play a little cricket up there. The bigger boys need to play cricket. I'm disappointed in that these youngsters are not really playing cricket. Because they can make a decent living these days out of cricket too. There's so much money in the game these days. The young fellas who are interested in cricket, they really need to put in that work because it could be very rewarding.
Thank you so much, Elko. And on behalf of the people of Nevis and by extension, the cricketing fraternity around the world, we want to say thank you very much for your contribution to Nevis cricket, Leeward Islands cricket, Combined Islands cricket, West Indies cricket, and cricket in the world in general. Thank you so much. Congratulations as we approach the 50th, and we say all the best. God bless you.
Thank you. You're welcome.